Jai Hind. We are 2 minutes late. Shweta, Ganesh, who is the first volunteer today?
So can I?
Okay. Ganesh, keep time. It's straightway move.
Yes, yes. You can start, Shweta.
साहब सरहदों पर बहुत तनाव है क्या? कुछ पता तो करो चुनाव है क्या? Good morning everyone. This is me Shweta Singh and today I am going to tab on a topic of one nation one election. After the independence, held all elections from Lok Sabha to state assemblies had one go simultaneously in the year of 1952. Till 1967, all the election held simultaneously, but after 1967, the term or year of all the elections got destroyed. The major factor behind these was first, the party lose the majority before the term completion, and second, by the PM choice, the election can be held before the term completion. These two are the major reason in the destruction of simultaneous election. Now, what is the meaning of one nation, one election? Uh, our Honorable Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi, gave two statements on it. First, there should be one electoral rolls means currently in our country there is two election bodies, one for Lok Sabha and Vidhan Sabha, which is called Election Commission, and second is State Election Commission, which is for the local bodies. The second statement was gives a various proposal like a held election of Vidhan Sabha and Lok Sabha at one go and local bodies at one go. And the second proposal was held all the elections simultaneously at one go. The current status of the One Nation One Election is the union government led by Prime Minister Mr. Narendra Modi took the first decisive step towards it by forming a high powered committee of on September 2, 2023 to examine the viability of the One Nation One Election, which is headed by the former president Mr. Ramnath Govind with 8 more members. Now, what is the advantages of One Nation One Election? First, holding election in multiple states throughout the year is a drain on public money. It note that the cost of holding election of Lok Sabha and state assemblies together is estimated by the ECI at 40
Last 30 seconds.
crore compared to the 3,870 crores spent on the 2014 Lok Sabha alone, and approximately 300 crore for the big state assemblies. Second, frequent imposition of the code of conduct during election paralyze day-to-day governance and development project. Third, engaging a significant section of the armed forces in ensuring that election take place in a free and
Time's
fair
up.
manner for a prolonged period pulls them away from primary duties. Fourth, frequent election prepared state, religion, and communal issues across the country. Now, what is the disadvantage of one nation, one election? First, holding just one mega election could be too complicated and exercise in a vast and complex country like India. Second, voters may end up voting on national issues even for state election, which could benefit the larger national parties and marginalize the regional parties. Now, what is come to the conclusion that we should have to move forward step by step. That like a first step will be a held election once in a year. Second step will be Lok Sabha and Vidhan Sabha election held simultaneously uh, 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 in a in a five once in a 5 year and local bodies at one go. Step 3, holding all elections from Lok Sabha to state assemblies and local bodies at one go simultaneously. Thank you so much.
Okay, Shweta, a little overshoot the time. A topic very important. One nation, one election. Every now and then, political parties keep talking about it. Some of them opposing, especially opposition parties. oppose it and the ruling party wants to bring it. This is the normal scenario. But what Shweta was highlighting, the pros and cons, the challenges, it is not easy because our country is a vast, diverse country. The election conducting in couple of states simultaneously becomes a big challenge. Imagine entire nation going into election. So first is capability. Can we do it? If with the advent of technology, if we can do it, how exactly it will be executed on ground? That is a big question because it requires machinery. It requires officials who will run it, security systems in place. Today, technology may be helping us, but the physical security is more challenging. We have to deploy internal security forces. We have to deploy the officials to conduct the elections. But I think we are at a stage we can think and positively implement it. Yes, conducting it will be a big challenge. Now you see, of late, number of states coming into election simultaneously. Now five states are going to election, but conducting it in a systematic way. What in towards the end, Shweta was telling phases. Can we start doing in phases, implementing this ambition? Probably it will be good. What are the challenges in terms of democracy, whether it will be in danger? No, I don't think so. Simultaneously doing it, people executing their rights of vote. There are some people who are migrated now. New challenges can they do at the place of their duties? Yes, these provisions are there now. But now making it more transparent, all parties coming together on it will be thing to see. We have to watch as a citizen how political parties are looking at it. But I think time has come to go for it. The expenditure part, generally we ignore it, but it is a big toll on our national economy. Can we reduce it? That is another viewpoint, which is our concern as a nation. Can we reduce the expenditure which goes in into such kind of election? Because uh, every year there is one or two states who are into elections. The amount of expenses which goes in, corruption also. Besides the legitimate expenditures, there are corruption angles. How that can be reduced? These are the major issues we can really reduce if we do once for all 5 years. एक साथ ही कर लो. I think that will be reducing a lot of hiccups. A lot of parties spend too much because if there is one state where election is happening, resources from other states pull in. These all things will be stopped. It is unnecessary expenditure. If some party is doing expenses for that particular period, they will do it, but they will gather again whatever is lost money wise. They will again next 5 years they will accumulate it. These all things cyclic will stop. Okay, good Shweta, good lecturate. Time, that time has to be respected, and that is an art how we can restrict and express within a specified time. That is also one thing we need to practice daily. Okay, Ganesh, ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Shweta, keep time.
Yeah, you can start now.
Okay. So the topic for my today's lecturate is foreign policy of India. In international community, we know that every country has to interact with other countries, and we also know that this interaction is not haphazard. It takes place with some definite objectives and principles, and these principles and these objectives only form the core of India's foreign policy. So, in basic thing, what is foreign policy? Foreign policy can be stated that it is the sum total of principal, interests, and objectives of a country, which basically it formulates in conducting its relation with other countries. And the term foreign policy is not a fixed concept as it keeps changing on according to the changing domestic or international conditions. Now, India adopts a certain principle and objective in her foreign policy, and which are not amenable to changes. And the core interest is the national interest. Of national interest comes very much above the foreign policy, and foreign policy itself is made on the basis of national interest. National security is also our prime interest. And India as a country has never compromised with her national security for the sake of just upholding these principles of foreign policy. Hence, we can state it as foreign policy has become an instrument to realize national interest of our country. Also, this foreign policy has been shaped by two factors: domestic and international, our history, culture, geography, economy, then the two superpowers, UN, armed races. These are the factors. Now, in order to make these foreign policies, there are some objectives. These objectives form the basis of this foreign policy, and these are five fundamental objectives. First is the preservation of India's territorial integrity. At any cost, we will protect and preserve our territorial integrity, promoting international peace and security. We have seen that in UN, India has been voice as a voice of peace between Russia and Ukraine, Israel and Palestine. In history, also 1950 Korean War, Cyprus mission, or for the African nations. Then is the economic development of India. Then is elimination of colonialism and racial discrimination. And lastly, the objective is protection of interest of people, the diaspora of Indian origin living abroad. To achieve this principle, also there has been a statement as Panchashil factors, the five factors on which these objectives of foreign policy depends. These are mutual respect for each other's territorial integrity. We have non-aggression towards any country, non-interference in each other's internal affairs. Equal, India believes in equality and mutual benefit and peaceful coexistence. In the conclusion, I would like to
30
state that
seconds are left.
India has always upheld these objectives and principles, and it has become a model for all the countries as the foreign policy is concerned. India has been the leader of the global south. The foreign policy has been in talk with US, UK, Pakistan has said that India has a very good foreign policy. And this foreign policy has led us to be a leader in global affairs. We have been joining BRICS, Quad, ITU to IMEC. And I think that this policy is very well calibrated to be to the changing global conditions in the post-Cold War era. Thank you.
Time up.
Okay, good Ganesh. Indian foreign policies is a very interesting subject because we see post independence we started with non alignment and we have come to a stage where we can call it multi alignment. We are presently in a scenario which is dynamic. International relations is key. You see, every day there is some issue with some country. Today, the hot talk is Qatar. Our 8 ex Navy personals are sentenced to death by Qatar. Now, how to deal with it? So, it requires some base. Now, war zone countries, again, we require very, very strong negotiation skills to bring out our nationals because that is what is our national interest is to protect our citizens, firstly, and secondly, then business interest. So, during these crises, then it is proved what kind of relations we have. When Russia Ukraine war broke out, we could take out our all citizens very safely. Similarly, in all other crises, if we see recently, our people are safely coming home. So let's watch out how now these Navy personals, ex Navy personals, are they saved with our diplomatic relations, strong relations, or they are not able to save them. Let's see, because in today's world, India has got respect, but there are some countries which are still trying to create problems with us. Obvious reasons, because there are groups, multipolar order is there today. We are no more into a single hegemony of US because you see, especially 47 onwards, when there was initial Cold War era where US versus Russia till maybe when the USSR broke out, because in India's foreign policy is dictated by these all surroundings and the international affairs. When there was bipolar order, US versus USSR, erstwhile USSR, then came maybe 91 onwards, it is US led world order almost till maybe 2016-17 when China started emerging. Today we can see there are three different poles where strong reactions are coming: US, China, and to some extent Russia is not having that much say but still pulling its strings. India slowly getting into the club of being called one of the strongest pole in the foreign relations all over world. Some of the countries, especially after COVID, have realized it, India's potential, India's intent of being peaceful and meaning it by actions. And now the terrorism getting into a different level, India's role will increase. India's foreign policy generally criticized for many reasons. We have failed at times, but we have been now emerging as an as a strong player in the world. There are many reasons. Strong government in the center will always play a key role. It always helps bringing strong policies. If we have to sum up whether we are strong or not, there are a couple of examples. We are strong, proving it. When we did across the border raids, whether it is Pulwama related incidents and thereafter the strikes. When we raised voice, world was listening to us and we raided the enemy country. Nobody objected the way it used to happen earlier. Kargil, we had constraints, but now whatever surgical strikes we could execute, the real winning is not about surgical strikes. It was between India and Pakistan. The real winning is in the strategic affairs in the international arena. What is the say of each country? Nobody objected vehemently. Everybody was silent. That means we are strong. These are the examples where we can judge where we are going. We are probably going to a correct direction and we are emerging as a one of the strongest nation and slowly we will be called one of the pole in the multipolar scenario in the world today. Good Ganesh, time bound, delivered it well, content was good and the delivery pattern style is good. Who is now Sanjivani and Harsh? Who is ready? Sanjivani. Okay, both are ready. Go with Sanjivani and then Harsh. Ganesh, keep time.
Yes, you can start, Sanjeev.
Good morning to everyone. Today, my lecture topic is child marriage. Marriage is a human right violation despite law against it. The practice remains widespread because of persistent poverty and gender inequality. It can be seen across the country, but it is far higher in a central and western part of India and more in rural areas. Both girls and boys are affected by child marriage, but girls are affected in much larger and with greater intensity. Why does child marriage happen? Child marriage is a tradition in many part of country, and it continue to happen because it is happen for generation in their communities. People feel that tradition and normal are stronger than the law. Prohibition of child marriage act, limited education opportunity, lack of transport, and therefore concern about the girls' safety with traveling to schools. Significant contribution to keeping girls out of schools, therefore to favor a child marriage. Despite the fact that dowry has a big prohibition of few decades, Dowry Prohibition Act 1961, it is still common practice in India and increased with the age of the education level of the girls. Hence, the system of dowry perpetual child marriage. Child marriage can increase in a human traditional crisis. When a family face for greater family face of the greater other than the of child marriage. Also, some disadvantage of early marriage. First is responsibility has been issued at the very young age. One has to taken on household responsibility. child remaining child and also other responsibility, and a child at this age can
Last
rapidly
30
have
seconds.
the burden of this much responsibility independently. One major setback of child marriage is that to give child as across education and therefore better opportunity in future, as they have taken on responsibility of family budget. So lastly, I want to conclude that for most probably the health is affected by the uh, early marriage. Also in child marriage is still taken by the rural areas. So we have to stand about child stop to child marriage. Thank you.
Sanjeevani, very common topic about social issues, child marriage. Child marriage, especially in rural India, is still a thing to worry. But now the different dimension is getting added to it. Mobiles in the hands of young kids, teenage people, social media is impacting in a different dimension. How now kids are getting fascinated to run away with their partners. These are more cases. Surprisingly, we are not able to address such issues. Parenting has become challenging in rural, urban, metros, because in metros the parents are generally working, uh, father and mother. If there is a nuclear family, then the kids are not under supervision. In rural India, that is not the case generally, but still there are so many cases on a rise that kids are running away from home and doing some or taking some wrong decisions, and below 18 girls running away. These cases are more in number. But then, how to address such issues? As per law, child marriage is prohibited, but the awareness or the sensitivity towards it from the parent side and even from the kid side is less. There are many cases which are going unnoticed or not reported, getting a silent sanction from the community. These are things which are to be stopped. But I think with the change of time, these are not major concern for the society. Major concern for the society is marriage per se should last long. That is a major concern, because obviously the decrease in number of child marriages is there, but the marriage as an institution, marriage as a ceremony should last long. This couple, whether they marry as a child marriage or a regular legalized system, but the marriage as a system should survive, family should survive. That is a larger question in front of society. Sanjeevani, delivery pattern, just observe, don't be in a hurry, try and make it more smoother. The words, just be confident. That confidence will come when you are deliberate and slow. Try to be slow for some days. Just forget what speed is required. You can be slow than expected, so that the thought process and the delivery pattern will establish, and then you can increase speed. Now for few days be deliberate to be slow. Okay, Sanjeevani.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Harshvardhan, I think network issue. Anybody, any point? Ganesh, when is your SSB?
Sir, it is on 15th of November, sir.
Psychological tests, please send me your answers, whatever you are practicing. Just let me see where or how it is coming up. Okay.
Yes, sir. Sir, currently I'm more focusing on this GD part, sir.
Don't worry, that is absolutely in order, under control. Just don't worry on that part. Psychological test, PPDT, especially we'll do online PPDT,
Yes, sir.
but then let's observe that also because the speed of writing, do it timed manner, huh?
Yes, sir. I'm solving like in time manner and proper sets, level and sets. I'll send you the responses, sir.
Okay, I think we'll call it a day now. Harshvardhan seems to be out now. Shweta, all well?
Yes, sir, all well.
Okay, you are doing your job.
No, sir. Current after 15 to 20 days, I have a semester exam, a 7 semester exam, and from January I have a training.
Okay,
Okay, so
okay,
currently I am free now and studying for the written examination only.
okay. Sanjeevani, you are heading for some entry, defense entry or not?
Yes, sir.
Which one?
Sir, NCC.
Okay, good. Uh, Work upon now communication. Time is there. When will be the earliest chance? Next.
Sir, maybe in November or first week of December.
Okay. See, all of you, communication is key. A very, very big thing for your entire life. Forget about only competition, these competitive exams. It is about your entire life. So, whatever time you are now spending is a big investment, and just be little deliberate where all you need to improve. Someone may be requiring to improve to gather knowledge so that more points are delivered. Someone may be working on grammatical things, someone may be on one confidence, but practice will solve all these issues. But the key is when you're practicing, are you really noticing, observing? With every practice, are you really improving upon the previous mistakes? That is key. So keep observing your mistakes and your confidence, because we may discuss few things, but you know heart of heart while speaking what was the problem, what all points you wanted to speak, how exactly you wanted to speak, and then how it got delivered finally. Once you listen, you can compare. So that is a good exercise. Couple of times you do it, for whole life it will set your tuning, and you will be a good communicator. Whatever exercises you are doing now, that is a big step towards your bright future in terms of communication, because it will solve most of the problem in your life. Professional, all professional, whether you go to government service, private service, entrepreneurship, communication is key. At the leadership level, worker level, you need not to communicate much, you have to receive orders. But at the leadership, your communication will be the distinguishing factor, and it will help you. Okay, we will end here. Bye. Jai Hind.
Jai Hind.
So